This is a moment in Jewish history. Last week, I discussed the story of Warder Cresson, who in the 1840s promoted the idea of the Jewish people returning to the land of Israel. He corresponded with a like-minded person named Mordechai Manuel Noah, one of the most prominent Jewish Americans of his day. Noah even defended Cresson during his famous trial for insanity. You can listen to that in last week's episode for more information. But what I want to focus on today is Ararat, not the mountain where Noah's Ark landed, but the Jewish homeland located in Grand Island, New York, near Buffalo. Keep in mind that Theodore Herzl did not preside over the first Zionist Congress until 1897. That was the event that put Zionism on the map and became a phenomenon that swept the Jewish world, resulting in the creation of a Jewish state. But this was the mid-1800s, and the majority of the Jewish population did not live in Israel or the United States, but in Europe, Russia, and North Africa. Mordechai Manuel Noah spent a great deal of time and money creating a refuge for persecuted Jewish immigrants from Europe and Russia. When none actually showed up, he shifted his focus to repatriate the Jewish people directly to their ancient homeland in Israel. But first, some biographical information. Mordechai Manuel Noah was born in 1785 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He was the grandson of Jonas Phillips, a veteran of the Revolutionary War and a founding member of Congregation Mikvah Israel, one of the oldest synagogues in America. Noah grew up in his grandfather's home and went on to study law and become involved in politics. In 1811, President James Madison appointed him consul to the Kingdom of Tunis, today the capital city of Tunisia in North Africa. As part of his role, he successfully released American citizens who were captured by Barbary pirates. During this period, Noah visited England, France, and Spain. There, he came into contact with other Jewish communities. Unlike in the United States, Jewish people in these regions did not have the same voting rights or freedom to run for office. Noah saw the return to Zion as a solution, but the easiest and most effective way would be to create a temporary haven in his own backyard. Upon his return from abroad, he moved to New York, where he became a successful newspaper editor and playwright. In 1818, at the dedication of a new building for Congregation She'arith Israel, Noah was one of the guest speakers. There, he talked about the return of the Jews to the land of Israel. Like many of his day, he referred to the general region not as the Middle East, but as Syria. The following are excerpts. They will march in triumphant numbers and possess themselves once more of Syria, and take their rank among the governments of the earth. I have been too much among them in Europe and Africa. I am too well acquainted with their views and sentiments in Asia to doubt their intentions. Let us hope that the day is not far distant when we may look forward toward a country where our people have established a mild, just, and honorable government, accredited by the world and admired by all good men. Until the Jews can recover their ancient rights and dominions and take their ranks among the governments of the earth, this is their chosen country. Now, the land of Israel was pretty far away and under control of the Ottoman Empire, while right in his home state of New York, there was Grand Island in between Buffalo and Niagara Falls. This was a period of American history when many religious groups, such as the Mormons and the Shakers, were creating agricultural communities. And so, finally, on September 15th, 1825, the day came to inaugurate what he called Ararat, City of Refuge. It was a grand affair, with a band, elected officials, and thousands in attendance. Noah stated, "Brothers, countrymen, and friends, having made known by proclamation the re-establishment of the Hebrew government, having laid the foundations of a city of refuge, an asylum for the oppressed in this free and happy republic, I avail myself of that portion of my beloved brethren here assembled. It is proper for me to state that this asylum is temporary and provisionary. The Jews never should and never will relinquish the just hope of regaining possession of their ancient heritage, and events in the neighborhood of Palestine indicate an extraordinary change of affairs." Mordechai Manuel Noah envisioned Ararat as a stepping stone for the persecuted Jews of the world until the political situation could be worked out in what they called Palestine, a section of southern Syria. A 400-pound foundation stone was placed. It read in English and Hebrew, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one." Ararat, a city of refuge for the Jews, founded by Mordechai Manuel Noah in the month of Tishrei, September, in the 50th year of American independence. Because of the large crowd, no one actually set foot on Grand Island, not even Noah. And then it was time for Noah to invite his fellow Jews to arrive at Ararat. It was not successful. Rabbi Abraham de Colonia, chief rabbi of Paris, who was once a member of Napoleon's Sanhedrin, replied to Noah's invitation as follows: "To speak seriously, it is right at once to inform Mr. Noah that the Venerable Messrs. Herschel and Mendola, chief rabbis at London, and myself thank him, but positively refuse the appointments he has been placed to confer upon us. Mr. Noah has doubtlessly forgotten that the Israelites, faithful to the principles of their belief, are too much attached to the countries where they dwell and devoted to their governments. We should be sorry to refuse him the title of a visionary of good intentions." Other Jewish leaders in France, Austria, and Russia were not so polite. One called him the crazy man. Ararat was never to be populated. Noah returned to his journalism career and became a New York politician, but his dreams of Jewish liberation continued. In 1837, he wrote, "The Jewish people must now do something for themselves. They must move onward to the accomplishment of that great event long foretold, long promised, long expected. My belief is that Syria will revert to the Jewish nation by purchase, and that the facility exhibited by the accumulation of wealth has been a provincial and peculiar gift to enable them at the proper time to reoccupy their ancient possessions by the purse string instead of the sword." Keep in mind that this was 60 years before the Jewish National Fund was established to purchase land and plant trees in Israel. In 1845, Noah wrote Discourse on the Restoration of the Jews. In it, he states, "The land of Israel will one day once more pass into the possession of the descendants of Abraham. The ports of the Mediterranean will again open to the busy hum of commerce. The fields again bear the fruitful harvest. This is our destiny. Every attempt to colonize the Jews in other countries has failed. Their eye has steadily rested on their own beloved Jerusalem, and they have said, the time will come, the promise will be fulfilled. The Jews are in the most favorable position to repossess themselves of the promised land and organize a free and liberal government. Agriculture was once their natural employment. The land is now desolate, according to the prediction of the prophets, but it is full of hope and promise. The soil is rich, the climate is mild, and double crops in the lowlands may be annually anticipated. Everything is produced in the greatest variety. Wheat, barley, rice, oats, and cotton are raised in great abundance. Indigo is produced on the banks of the Jordan. Olives and olive oil are found everywhere, and oranges, figs, dates, pomegranates, and all tropical fruits known to us flourish everywhere throughout Syria. When the Jewish people can return to Palestine and feel that in their persons and property they are safe from danger and ready to unfold the standard when political events shall demonstrate to them that the time is arrived, remember, my countrymen, you whose aid is invoked to assist in the restoration, that we are to return as we went forth, to bring back to Zion the faith we carried away with us. The temple under Solomon, which we built as Jews, we must again erect as the chosen people. For 2,000 years we have been pursued and persecuted, and we are yet here. Assemblages of men have formed communities, built cities, established governments, rose, prospered, decayed, and fell, and yet we are still here. Mordechai Manuel Noah's dream for Ararat never worked out, but his envisioning of an independent Jewish state in the land of Israel did eventually come to fruition. The State of Israel was established 123 years after Noah's attempt of creating Ararat, and today Israel is a thriving country. Today, Grand Island is populated and suburban, with over 21,000 people. The 400-pound cornerstone for Ararat, dedicated back in 1825, was placed in the Buffalo History Museum, where it can still be seen today. This has been a moment in Jewish history. For questions and comments, and for past shows, you can visit benbresky.substack.com. Thank you to all the listeners, and Shalom.